Hello, beautiful souls. You are now listening to Deep Chats with Chris Cipher. And this is your host, Chris Cipher, live from the Composition Notebook series. We are coming at it again. I'll put the title up later. Destiny. More like open, infinite possibilities. Endless variables. Bountiful outcomes. Now, can one of these outcomes be correctly predicted? So jumping right into it, my argument or my position that I'm presenting is that there's no set way that the future is going to play out. Only different potentialities of the current circumstance that has a possibility to either happen or not happen. So that leads me to my question: can one of these outcomes be correctly predicted? Possibly so, but not quite, or an accurate enough scale. Endless possibilities equal endless outcomes. Now, there are situations that are presented that lean towards more likely outcomes due to specified variables, but again, it relatively is all hearsay. It's all estimation, because you always have to take into consideration outliers. And that is something that differentiates from the common flow and is always a possibility. So before I continue, I'd just like to say that I have this theory that anything has a 50% chance of either occurring or not occurring, because those are the only two possible options. Now, many potential futures. So basically, can only be predicted at an if then fashion, i.e., if you ask Julia at the prom, then she will say yes. But possibilities can only be based on variables. So, does Julie like you? What's your prior relationship? Does she have anybody else that she's interested in? Did they ask her first? Is she going with her friends? Is she not going? Is she busy that weekend? Then that is something that you have to include. Now, within the spectrum of happening, you have your most likely outcome and your least likely outcome, with this middle ground being the gray area, indicating the outliers, which are unlikely but not impossible. Certain outcomes will be one of the two. And I say nothing, but just let's replace that with not much really stands neutral. And the variables dictate whether it's more or less likely. More likely variables, better chance predicted outcome will occur. So the more the likely the variable is, then the more variables that are in favor, the better chance that the outcome has of happening. Factors: favorable outcome, personal preference, surrounding circumstances, and unlikely outliers. So these are just some of the factors in the equation of any possible outcome. You have your favorable outcome, which is what you work to make happen, and the input that you put, which also has effect on the outcome. Personal preference as well adds into that with intention and manifestation. Surrounding circumstances are a big part of the total outcome as far as affecting. And then you have unlikely outliers, which may be circumstances, seemingly quote unquote coincidences, anything that happens that is incalculable, but still a possibility. Each individual variable holding its own infinite factors. So not only do we have the singular variable, but stemming from the variable as well as associating with the variable, you have surrounding information, you have influences on both sides, you have many things that just come from that one particular variable. Okay. And time travel is impossible because time isn't real. All timelines are on the same plane, just different realms, simultaneously occurring throughout and through eternity itself. So this was kind of just a tangent I went off on. I was thinking about time travel. And, I mean, okay, maybe this other side. There we go. Here we are. Instead of time travel, space travel would be useful. To be able to travel through space would enable time travel, so to speak. In the court, it's not a play. It's a place, not a time. So necessarily, what I'm saying in this is that with the questionability of the future, that the solid idea of time travel as I was presented to when I was younger, in shows and stuff, just traveling directly to the future and everything, it quite is implausible, just in my opinion. I'm not saying that it is impossible, but I figure that as time is more of something that is referencing space, something that we've created to identify points in space, not necessarily a system that space goes by, or a system that is apart from space itself. It's more of a description of different points in space, kind of like a referencing point. I'm gonna cut the video right here, but I'm gonna be making a part 2, so tune in to that. Thank you very much.